I felt the heat of their bodies pressing against me from both sides, their hands exploring every curve, every sensitive spot that made me gasp and arch toward them. Sam's breath was hot against my neck, while Cody's fingers traced patterns along my thigh that sent electric pulses through my core. I was caught between them, completely surrendered to their rhythm, to the way they moved together like they'd planned this moment for months. "You're incredible," Sam murmured against my skin, his voice thick with desire. I could barely think, could only feel the way they claimed every inch of me, the way my body responded to their touch like it had been waiting for this all along. Hey, if you're enjoying this wild ride, smash that like button and hit subscribe. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. The neighborhood barbecue had been winding down for an hour, but I wasn't ready for the night to end. The wine had left me feeling bold, adventurous, and when I caught Sam and Cody lingering by my fence, still nursing their beers and talking in low voices, I knew exactly what I wanted. "You two aren't heading home yet, are you?" I called from my back porch, letting my sundress catch the evening breeze just enough to hint at what lay beneath. Sam looked up first, his dark eyes scanning me with unmistakable interest. At 35, he had that rugged charm that came from working with his hands, building custom furniture in his garage workshop. His broad shoulders filled out his polo shirt perfectly, and when he smiled, something warm and dangerous flickered. In his gaze, Cody turned more slowly, but his reaction was just as immediate. 2 years older than Sam, he carried himself with quiet confidence, the kind that came from knowing exactly what he wanted and how to get it. His hair was shorter, more professional. He worked in finance downtown, but there was nothing corporate about the way his eyes traced the outline of my body. "Not if you're offering something better than going home to an empty house," Cody said, his voice carrying just enough suggestion to make my pulse quicken. I smiled, feeling the thrill of being desired, of having their complete attention. "I've got a bottle of wine that's been waiting for the right company. Interested?" They exchanged a look, quick, loaded with meaning, before Sam set down his beer and started toward my porch. "Lead the way." The three of us had been neighbors for 2 years, but tonight felt different. Maybe it was the wine, maybe it was the way the summer heat had left us all feeling restless, or maybe it was simply that we'd been circling this moment for months without admitting it. I led them through my kitchen, hyper-aware of how they moved, behind me, of the weight of their presence filling my space. The wine bottle sat on the counter, already uncorked and breathing. I poured 3 glasses, letting my fingers brush against theirs as I handed them over. "To good neighbors," I said, raising my glass. "To beautiful women who know what they want," Sam replied, his eyes never leaving mine. We drank, the wine warm and rich on my tongue, but it was nothing compared to the heat building between us. Cody moved closer, close enough that I could smell his cologne, something expensive and masculine that made my head spin. "You know," he said, his voice low and smooth, "I've been thinking about this moment for a long time." "What moment?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. Instead of responding with words, he reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind my ear, his fingers lingering against my cheek. The simple touch sent electricity racing through my body, making my breath catch. Sam moved to my other side, his hand finding the small of my back, warm and steady. The moment when we stopped pretending we didn't want each other. I set my wine glass down with trembling fingers. "And what if I said I wanted both of you?" The question hung in the air between us, charged with possibility. Sam's hand pressed more firmly against my back while Cody's thumb traced my lower lip with agonizing slowness. "Then we'd make sure you got exactly what you wanted," Cody murmured. That was all the permission I needed. I turned toward Sam first, rising on my toes to press my lips against his. He tasted like beer and summer nights, his mouth warm and eager as he deepened the kiss. His hands found my waist, pulling me closer, and I melted into him, letting myself feel how much he wanted me. But then Cody's hand was on my shoulder, gently turning me toward him. His kiss was different, slower, more deliberate, like he wanted to savor every second. I moaned softly against his mouth, my body already responding to their touch, to the delicious sensation of being desired by both of them. "Bedroom?" Sam asked, his voice rough with need. I nodded, suddenly breathless. "Upstairs." They flanked me as we climbed the stairs, their hands never leaving my body, Sam's palm against my lower back, Cody's fingers intertwined with mine. My bedroom felt different with them in it, charged with an energy that made my skin tingle with anticipation. Sam moved behind me, his hands finding the zipper of my sundress. "May I?" "Please," I whispered. The fabric pooled at my feet, leaving me in nothing but lace and desire. I felt beautiful under their gazes, powerful in a way I hadn't experienced in years. Cody stepped closer, his fingers tracing the edge of my undergarments with reverent touches. "You're perfect," he breathed, and I believed him. They undressed, with practiced efficiency, and I let my eyes roam over their bodies. Sam's broader frame, all muscle and strength, and Cody's leaner build, elegant and precise. Both beautiful in their own ways, both wanting me with an intensity that made my core ache with need. Sam reached me first, his hands cupping my face as he kissed me deeply, his body pressing against mine with delicious heat. I could feel his desire, hard and insistent against my hip, and it sent a thrill through me that made my legs weak. Cody's hands were at my back, unhooking my final layer of clothing with skillful fingers. When it fell away, he pressed himself against me from behind, his mouth finding the sensitive spot where my neck met my shoulder. I was caught between them, surrounded by heat and muscle and want, and it was everything I'd fantasized about during those long, lonely nights. "Tell us what you want," Sam murmured against my lips. "Everything," I gasped. "I want everything." They guided me to the bed, their hands gentle but insistent. Sam lay back against the pillows, his eyes dark with promise, while Cody knelt beside me, his fingers already beginning their exploration of my body. I straddled Sam, feeling the perfect friction as our bodies aligned. His hands gripped my hips, guiding me as I began to move, slow and deliberate, savoring the way he filled me completely. Every motion sent waves of pleasure through my core, building slowly but surely toward something explosive. Cody's mouth found my throat, then lower, his tongue tracing patterns that made me arch and gasp. His hands roamed freely, finding every spot that made me whimper with need. I was lost in sensation, caught between their touches, their whispered encouragements, their obvious desire for me. "That's it!" Sam groaned beneath me, his grip tightening as I moved faster, chasing the pleasure that was building like a storm inside me. Just like that. Cody's fingers found their way to where Sam and I were joined, adding pressure that made stars explode behind my eyelids. I cried out, my body clenching around Sam as the first wave of release crashed over me, leaving me trembling and breathless. But they weren't finished with me. As I came down from that high, they switched positions with fluid grace. Cody took Sam's place beneath me while Sam moved to explore my body with his mouth, his tongue finding spots that made me gasp and arch against him. The night became a blur of sensation and pleasure. They took turns claiming me, sometimes together, sometimes separately. Always with a focus on my pleasure that left me feeling cherished and desired. I lost count of how many times they brought me to the edge and over, their stamina matching their skill. When Cody pressed into me from behind while Sam's mouth worked magic between my legs, I thought I might shatter from the intensity. The dual sensations were overwhelming, pushing me toward a climax that felt like it might tear me apart in the best possible way. "I can't. It's too much," I gasped, but they only increased their efforts, determined to push me past my limits. "Yes, you can," Cody murmured in my ear, his rhythm steady and deep. "Let go for us." And I did. The orgasm that ripped through me was unlike anything I'd ever experienced, waves of pleasure that seemed to go on forever, leaving me boneless and satisfied in ways I hadn't known were possible. We collapsed together in a tangle of limbs and satisfied sighs, my body still humming with aftershocks. Sam's arm was around my waist, Cody's hand resting on my thigh, both of them looking as satisfied as I felt. That was. I started, then trailed off. Not sure there were words for what we'd just shared. "Incredible," Sam finished, pressing a soft kiss to my shoulder. "Perfect," Cody agreed, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on my skin. As the three of us lay there in the aftermath, I felt a contentment I hadn't experienced in years. This wasn't just physical release. It was connection, desire, the fulfillment of fantasies I'd barely admitted to myself. The wine glasses sat forgotten downstairs, but the night was far from over. I could feel it in the way they touched me, in the heat that still simmered between us despite our satisfaction. This was just the beginning. Sam's hand began to wander, again, tracing the curve of my hip with renewed interest. "Round two?" he asked, his voice already thick with returning desire. I looked between them, these two incredible men who had just given me the most intense experience of my life, and felt my own desire stirring again. "I thought you'd never ask." This time, Cody took the lead, his mouth finding mine in a kiss that was both tender and possessive. His hands mapped my body like he was memorizing every curve, every sensitive spot that made me gasp and arch toward him. Sam's fingers joined, his exploration, the two of them working in perfect harmony to build my arousal slowly, methodically, like they had all the time in the world, and maybe we did. The night was still young, and I was discovering that my appetite for pleasure was far from satisfied. When Cody finally pressed into me, slow and deep, I wrapped my legs around him and surrendered completely to the sensation. Sam's mouth found my breasts, his tongue circling and teasing until I was writhing beneath them, desperate for more. Please, I gasped, not even sure what I was begging for, only knowing that I needed more of whatever they were giving me. They seemed to understand anyway, their movements becoming more urgent, more focused on driving me toward another peak. I could feel it building again, that incredible tension that promised explosive release. This time when I climaxed, it was with both their names on my lips, my body arching between them as pleasure consumed me completely. The satisfaction that followed was deep and complete, leaving me feeling utterly fulfilled. We spent the rest of the night exploring each other, taking breaks only when exhaustion temporarily overtook desire. By the time dawn began to creep through my bedroom windows, we had discovered new dimensions of pleasure I hadn't known existed. As the first light of morning painted the sky soft pink, we lay tangled together, skin still warm and sensitive from our night of passion. I felt changed, transformed by the experience of being truly desired, truly satisfied. No regrets? Cody asked softly, his fingers playing with my hair. I considered the question seriously. Here I was, in bed with my two neighbors, having just experienced the most incredible night of my life. By any conventional standard, I should probably feel guilty or embarrassed. Instead, I felt powerful, beautiful, completely satisfied. None, I said firmly. You? Only that we waited so long, Sam replied, pressing a kiss to my temple. I smiled, feeling the truth of that statement settle in my bones. We had been dancing around this attraction for months, maybe years, pretending it didn't exist when it had been building all along. Well, I said, stretching like a contented cat, we have plenty of time to make up for it. The look that passed between them was loaded with promise, with the understanding that this wasn't just a one-time thing. We had opened a door that none of us wanted to close, discovered something together that was too good to give up. As I drifted off to sleep between them, their arms warm and protective around me, I couldn't help but smile. The neighborhood barbecue had been pleasant enough, but this was the kind of night that changed everything. When I woke hours later, they were both still there, and the sight of them in my bed sent a fresh wave of desire through me. The morning light revealed the evidence of our night together, rumpled sheets, discarded clothes, the lingering scent of our passion in the air. "Good morning," I murmured, stretching against them. Their response was immediate and gratifying. Hands beginning to roam again, mouths finding skin, the promise of more pleasure to come. I realized with a thrill that my appetite for them, was far from satisfied. The day stretched ahead of us, full of possibilities. And as Sam's mouth found mine while Cody's hands began their familiar exploration of my body, I knew that this was just the beginning of something incredible. Sometimes the best adventures happen right in your own neighborhood, with people you thought you knew. Have you ever discovered hidden desires in the most unexpected places? Tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one and love hearing your stories. Don't forget to like this video and hit subscribe for more tales that push boundaries and explore the wild side of life. Hit that notification bell so you never miss when things get steamy.